Ik kan na ere vir raadslid van Nooi gaan kuier. I'm waiting for law enforcement before we can start.
Hallo, Councillor Otto.
Mr. Pfeiffer, will you do the safety precautions? Can I must start? Good afternoon, everybody. I only see happy faces and laughing faces. Okay, there is some space between Councillor Williams and Councillor Kotze. Thank you, everybody. I will now start the meeting. Thank you. Whip of Council, can you start the meeting in the appropriate way? When you do a prayer to the Lord for our people, also keep in mind in our prayers, councillors that is currently ill and are on special leave because of safety risks, and then also members of our community, and also the fire victims of the fires that took place last night, but in the broader over the festive season as well. Thank you, Chief Whip of Council.
Thank you, Speaker. Kom ons bid net saam. Vader, ons sê vir u baie dankie vir hierdie voorreg dat ons Here vanmiddag na u toe kan kom om in al die eer en al die lof en die aanbidding aan u toe te swaai. Here, buiten u is daar geen ander God nie en daarom eer ons u vanmiddag vir die voorreg. Here, waar ons as councillors vanmiddag hier by mekaar kan wees. Here, om u naam te verheerlik en alles wat ons doen wil ons erkenning gee aan u, my koning. Lord, thank you very much that we acknowledge you as the King, and thank you, Lord, for those who are sick, the councillors that are sick, Lord, those who are in the fire. Lord, I'm thinking about them in this afternoon, Father, and I pray that you will protect them, guide them, And thank you, Lord, that we will put a hand together for them, Father God. So whatever they need, that there will be a source that we can help them, Father. Thank you, Lord, for each and every one that coming here today for one purpose, Lord, is to make this municipality once again one of the best municipalities in the country again, Lord. Father, we acknowledge you for giving us the knowledge and the source and the responsibility, Lord, to run this municipality with the capacity that you has given us, Lord. Thank you for each and every one. And I pray today in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Whip of Council. Thank you, councillors. I am on the agenda. Can I have the evacuation protocol? Mr. Pfeiffer?
Thank you very much, Speaker. Let me help Mr. Pfeiffer. Speaker, we've got two accommodation. We've got the gallery on the outside of the main door. Then we've got the council chambers. We're going to handle the two accommodations differently. In case of emergency, the people on the gallery, they're going to see the exit. They must proceed towards the road, and the point for gathering on the other side of the court. Then they will find the fire marshal on that side. The councillors and the officials inside the main chambers. There's an exit in case of emergency. The evacuation, we're going to, all of us orderly, get out of this site, and we're going to turn around towards the gathering point where we'll find our fire marshals that are going to assist us. We'll request that everybody move out in an orderly manner so that we don't get any trouble. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you, Director Mbaliswana. Then I'm at official announcements. We haven't received any applications for people in the gallery, and I note that it is empty. But welcome, everyone. Welcome back. It's good to see everybody healthy and in good spirit. And I have spoken to all the councillors, even those that's not here today. So I'm glad to see that everybody is back and healthy and in good spirit. Also, welcome to the directors present. And thank you to Director Mbaliswana that is carrying now another director's responsibility. I've just heard he's now a super director. And I've experienced it myself and the MM. So well done, sir, you're doing a good job. Councillors, this is a new year, it's 2026. It is the year of the elections. The demarcation has been published in December. And we are all going to start with our preparations, and some has already started. The one thing that I would want to ask and request from everybody, and Councillor Rousseau has always put it so eloquently, we will canvass and we will campaign, but we will have mutual respect as always towards each and everyone. Us as human beings, as councillors, as activists, as candidates, but also towards our community. And so that we never forget where we come from, because respect goes a long way. So that's all from my side. Any announcements from you? Because I know the mayor has got nothing.
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Then I'm at leave of absence. I have leave of absence, and I've got a long list. The two EFF councillors has political duties, and they're on their way to their leader. Don't laugh. Politics, it's Councillor Pretorius is on a personal matter, and congratulations to her daughter who's got a bursary at Witwatersrand, so she's accompanying her to find good space to rent while she is studying and completing her honours. So well done to her daughter. She's traveling with her. The Deputy Mayor is online. She's representing Councillor in the overseas engagement. Online is also Councillor Morrison, and Alderman Vaughan is also online. Then I have, apologies, Councillor Kirufas is also dealing with a personal matter. and I gave him special leave because we are all human beings and we need also sometimes to deal with our personal matters. Councillor Komani is still on safety leave and she can't even receive a link. I'm not sure if I missed anything. Elzay, Joe? Did I remember everyone? Okay, thank you. Councillors, that's a leave of absence. And so, he's online. He's online, yes. Hey, Chief of the DA heard that. Thank you, councillors. Then I'm at declaration of interest with regards to matters on this agenda. Anything? Nobody's got any interest?
Just the directors.
The directors.
When it comes to
You've got the item.
of the.
Are you declaring now on behalf? Please declare.
It's not
No, not that. The performance.
Yes, we've got the performance assessment on item 7, which is declaring our interest as directors, but also Louis has got an interest in an addendum, so he will also declare that.
Thank you. Thank you, MM. Can I have a proposal and a secondment for the confirmation of the special council minutes of the 28th of October and the 11th of November? I
just need to comment on it.
Sorry?
I just need to point out something on the minutes.
The proposal is from Alderman Mamabolo. Councillor Kotze wants to comment on the minutes of which meeting, Councillor Kotze?
Madam Speaker, believe it or not, in my hurry to get here, I left the minutes there, but it's in connection with the appointment of the electrotechnical director. Maybe somebody can just point to that agenda point.
Councillor Kotze, please sit down. That minutes is in the yellow pages minutes. It was not in the normal council meeting. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Then proposal was by Alderman Mamabolo, secondman from Councillor America. Thank you. Then I'm at item 6, section 11 4A 52D report. Any questions for clarity before I ask for a proposal and a second? Questions for clarity? None? Can I have a proposal? Councillor Jackson first and then Councillor Williams. Councillor Jackson.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, Speaker, Executive Mayor, and everyone else in Council, as well as our viewers at home. Madam Speaker, I'd just like to ask a question and then also at the same time make my input while I'm on my feet. On page 23, I must admit that it is still very concerning for the NCC to see that we have vacant posts of 115 this late into our financial year. And then also I'd like to make a comment. I've just made mention of the fact that we are 6 months into our new financial year, and this report does indicate that we have only spent 11% of our capital budget. I must say that that is very alarming, but I also do understand that a lot of the things are out of the control of the municipality when it comes to the certain tender processes, tenders being reissued, etc., etc. I also find that it is very common for the municipality to say that we are in a very good financial space or standing, and that is very reassuring, especially to our taxpayers, as well as everyone else living within Saldanha Bay municipality. We are well aware that we take a lot of caution when it comes to overspend, yet we'd like to advise that the same caution gets taken when it comes to underspend. Because remember, we are not the experts like our CFO is when it comes to the finances and the money. But when we look at the report and we see such a major underspend, we just think to ourselves, you know, are we falling short at some point when it comes to service delivery? Are we falling short at any point in this regard? So when you look at this report, it is very, very concerning and alarming for the NCC that in the past 2 consecutive financial years at this point we were already 30% spent on our budget, and this time around we are only 11% spent on our budget. So for the NCC that is a major concern. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Williams.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Good afternoon, everyone. Speaker, I just have one or two questions. On page 8, 4.1. Speaker, this is with regards to the Langbell 309 and Witteklip 1155. Last year, October, Speaker, I've raised this question in the IPS meeting, and I've asked specifically when the contractor will be on site, and it was promised that the contractor specifically for the Langbell 309, and it is in the minutes, would be on site or will be on site between December and January. To my surprise, in this report now, I see that the tender must be re-advertised because there's some errors identified in the tender document. So how can we make such a mistake while the housing project is long overdue? There was a contractor before on site. So how can we make such errors with such important documents? That is the one, Speaker. And then on page 16, Speaker. Um, 9.7, the status of councillors' affairs. I'm glad to see there's nothing here. I just hope and pray, Speaker, that all the disputes has been sorted out now and everything is fine. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Chief Whip of the ANC.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, Madam Speaker. Mayor, unfortunately, our Deputy Mayor she can hear me, but she can't, and she can see me, but I can't see her. And everybody else, all my colleagues, thank you for the opportunity to be back here to God, first of all. Thank you that we have this opportunity to serve our people again. I've got a few questions. Sure. Let me start with the first one. I just want to say this, though, before I start. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for iterating that this is the silly season. As we all know, everybody just loses their cool constantly. But let us remain steadfast in our compassion towards each other and our communities. And must we always remember that on the inside of this skin, we all look the same biologically and physiologically, all the same. There's no difference. We're all human beings. God made us all, so let us love one another, because tomorrow we bury somebody. And for those of us that have been through illness and all of that, you realize that there's more important things than money and all kinds of other things. Life, friendship, and those things matter most. Right, so let me get to this quickly. Forgive me, my mask. I have no immunity whatsoever. So I don't want to, and that's why I didn't hug you, so I don't want to get sick. Right, so item 6, Madam Speaker, the ANC is really concerned because our revenue is really below budget. Our total operating expenditure is only 11%, and out of the 461 million rand that we have budgeted as capital, we've only used 52 million out of that. We have a negative variance of 74% on sales of goods and rendering of services. And now my concern also comes, and I iterate this the same as the Chief Whip of Good and the other parties. The Langbell 309 and the Dyersville are housing projects that have been in the pipeline for a long time. And here we are again with a tender that needs to be re-advertised, and we all know how long that process is. So people are still going to be waiting. And I just have this question. When was the error identified in the process? Because we have excellent teams that work with our administration. So I cannot believe that they overlooked an error and only found it now. It doesn't make sense. And I'm very concerned about the 73% negative variance on our capital grants. And the ANC is very, 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 and very is not even the word, we are exceptionally concerned in regards to the fact that our contracted services only for 54% variance of that, where we have 30 million rand and 8 million rand housing and maintenance projects that are not going to be completed. The ANC wants to make it very clear that we feel that once again, the poorest of the poor is somehow going to lag behind and not receive what is their due diligence in regards to housing. Because if this contract or tender process takes another 6 months, then we're in the next financial year. And it's going to continue. And I would like to implore the CFO and his team to ensure that this does not happen again. To do your utmost best. Because we saw with the fires now what it is to lose everything, but it's even worse to have nothing to begin with. And housing is really a necessity in every single ward of this municipality. So we should push that these tenders and processes are completed and done properly. Because we cannot come back every financial year and have an issue with the same things, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Whip of the ANC, then Councillor van der Merwe, and then Councillor Kotze.
Thank you, Speaker. Good day to all my fellow colleagues. Just a few questions, Speaker. Pardon. As Councillor Rousseau now said previously, that in the report it says over the prior 2 financial years, on average 30% of the capital budget was spent. The question, however, is, Speaker, what is prohibiting us as a council to break through the 30%? Why is it that for the past 2 financial years we are stuck at 30%? The other question is, pardon, what is the contingencies that the department is putting in place to ensure that we are able to achieve more? 6 months into the financial year, and we say that we are fine by spending. Basically what we are saying, everybody that's here, I don't know how many were here, but basically what we are saying is that we are fine with that figure. It's okay for us to be able to spend that amount of money basically on capital expenditure. So the other question is, what is then also prohibiting us from being able to clear that vacant positions? Is it the process? Is it supply chain? Is it maybe an issue in terms of human or positions that are not being able to fulfill their duties? Because I believe with each position that's there is a KPI, and the KPI tells you that this is what you should put out, this is what is being measured against. Now, if for the past 2 years, 30%, is that then the benchmark that we put this department to say that this is what we can only achieve, Speaker? Or is it an issue in terms of, I'm going to just say it like that, we don't want to? Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor van der Merwe. Then Councillor Kotze.
Madam Speaker, I want to refer to page 14 under point 9.8, which is debt and credit control, point number 2. Although this reflects or gets reflected by my department, Department of Finance, in these particular cases, and I think that needs to be cleared and clarified by the department who deals with it, and it's not finance, it's rather I think it results under the MM's office at this moment, and that is, if I read the first sentence there, judgment was granted, but the company was deregistered in the meantime. And it seems to me this is where it stops. Now, Madam Speaker, in the particular case like that, that's why the legal entities such as a company exist. Irrespective of the fact that it's deregistered, the directors of that company is liable. and therefore they should be addressed. We cannot just write it off, as it seems to be the case here. We cannot pursue it. They can be called to task severally or collectively. And that, I've seen it in the past where we tried to write off money where the company was sold. That's irrelevant. The company is still responsible for it. And if the company has been dissolved, as in this matter, or deregistered, the directors are responsible for that, and we can go for them in their personal capacity. In this particular case, it's almost 1.15 million rand. It's the second biggest debtor on our list. I want to go further to point number 8. Judgment obtained, but judgment debtor is deregistered. Now, I can only assume that when they say deregistered, that it was also a legal entity, such as a company or whatever the case might be. The legal department would be able to tell me that. If it's deceased, then it's a different matter. But if it's a company or a trust for that matter, the trustees or the directors should be held accountable. I just want to bring it, maybe the MM can explain to me, or somebody can explain to me. The last thing, Madam Speaker, I just, with regards to the comments being made here and through the mayor maybe, I think because of the low, my department specifically is on 11% expenditure, but we've called upon the directors to explain to us why we are there. And maybe it's just fair if we can be allowed the opportunity, if the Speaker feels...
Thank you, your time.
We can reply on that. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Councillor Kotson, it's a comment from my side. As the MMC of Finance, it's very weird when you ask those questions here in council, because I think you should have consulted your director. Executive Mayor, I noted your hand. That's my comment, and it's not open for reply. Thank you.
It's not by directorship.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, councillors. First of all, I'd like to give thanks that we all returned back for 2026. We know, Madam Speaker, that health and life is not a right, it is a gift. We saw that we lost one of our own, so I'm extremely thankful to see you all in good health. If I look at some of you, you're in better health than others. But that's maybe the season that we went through, and the puddings and the trifles and that helped us to look in better health. So, Madam Speaker, Section 52 of the Municipal Finance Management Act requires the Executive Mayor must, before the end of January, submit a report to Council on assessment of the municipality's performance for the first half of the financial year that ended December 31st. A lot of questions has been asked. I hope that I can touch on some of those and see that we actually agree on many things. In this regard, I refer to agenda items R6 of 126, R9 of 126 that are before you as Council today. These two items speak to budget performance for the first 6 months of the financial years, and the service delivery performance against the service delivery budget implementation plan, or SDBIP as it is commonly known. Councillors, we all know that, and I think Councillor Jackson said it well, that we do know that budget is like a scorpion's tail. You know, in the beginning of the year is loading, and the second of the year is offloading. Having said that, I do have reservations, and my report will speak to it. I want to speak, Madam Speaker, specifically to the capital budget performance in my address today. Before I do that, I do need to mention the operating expenditure for the first 6 months was 43%, which exceed the SDBIP target of 30%. When we move over to the capital budget, the SDBIP expenditure for the first 6 months was 20%. As of 31 December 2025, the municipality was only able to spend 11%. Of this capital budget, of an amount of 461 million. But it is fair to look what was already committed. We talked about the tail going up. So if you go and look and see what's already through supply chain, what's already committed, then you'll see that additional 13% is already committed. And if aggregated, it brings you to 24% or 130 million versus the SDBIP target that was 20%. Speaker, in preparation for this meeting, I've discussed the slow progress of capital expenditure with the municipal manager, and I wish to share the following information with Council and the public on some major projects. First, I will start with the top 5 capital projects that are processing according to plan, and then I will discuss those require interventions. Councillor Van der Merwe, you asked, what are we putting in place? Brilliant question. That's the real important question. It's not what is the problems that we identify, but how do we move forward? Because, councillors, this is a fast-growing municipality. We never expected to grow so fast. I sat listening to a team from Cape Town, and we've also seen that this municipality has never spent more than 270 million. Never. So we always end up rolling over. But I sat listening to a team from Cape Town that said, if you take your inflation and you take your population growth and you don't spend more, it means you're actually moving backwards. So we need to move to a new gear because we have 2 of the top 10 fastest growing towns in our municipality. We're the only municipality that have 2 towns in the top 10, being St. Helena Bay as the 4th fastest growing town, and Langebaan as the 7th fastest growing town. And I bet you next year there's going to be more towns there. So what does this tell us? We cannot carry on doing the way that we used to do things. We've got to modernize, we've got to move forward, and we've got to do things different. So let me start with those top 5 projects. The MIC-funded Langville Wastewater Treatment Project. This tender was awarded in November 2025, and it's estimated approximately 17 million will be spent by 30 June. So we're talking about that's already awarded, but we're not seeing them now because we only put what have started. Then there's the Middle Post Joe Slovo, 1,500 electrification project of 16 million should be spent by the end of June 2026. The Olifantskop Langebaan pump station, the sewer pump station and pipeline of 15 million should be spent in full by the end of June 2026. Madam Speaker, we've budgeted 14 million for new services and vehicles, and the budget should be spent by the end of June 2026. The upgrade to the Langwell Sports Grounds, but I don't know if that's so important anymore because I hear Councillor Williams is now coaching in Vredenburg, so now he's going to start bugging me about the Vredenburg grounds. I just thought I made him happy. And congratulations, Councillor, on that appointment. We'll call you coach from now on in Council. I'll maybe come and apply for assistant coaching spot there by you. Then maybe you won't fight with me anymore. The upgrade of the local Langville Sports Ground of 10 million should be spent in full by the end of June 2026. And Councillor Williams, we can stand here and say to each other, we stood together on that field. We spoke to Minister Andrew Marie. We worked together. And today, through the work of this council, in our term, we've seen a complete turnaround of a sports ground. And we've seen how important sports is to our municipality. We see how important sports is to our youth and giving them hope. Madam Speaker, we saw one of our youth being taken up into the Springbok training camp. How exciting is that? One of our own, taught here, raised and bred here, coached here, and going on to greater things. So, to the and Director, investment in sports grounds is of vital importance to our children. I will now turn to the capital projects that are behind schedule. Speaker, I must express my utter disappointment with the slow progress of the housing projects. It is estimated that the municipality will spend 26 million on housing by the end of June. I'm very happy about that. Of which 6 million will be on capital and 20 million on top structures. The two biggest being Vredenburg, 1155, and phase 2 project of the Lowville 200. The delivery of the most of the projects on our housing pipeline is dependent on the appointment of the housing implementation agent. The housing implementation agent, which is also called the turnkey agent, we all know, we've spoken in council, will be responsible to construct services and top structures for the next 7 years on 8 different housing projects, which will amount to nearly 700 million rand. That's a major step forward. We said, what are we doing things forward? We saw when we deal with these individual companies, we get stuck. We have to re-advertise. They fold on the spot. Advantage about a turnkey agent is that they work directly with the department. They've got a known track record. They can run multiple projects at the same time. So, Councillor van der Merwe, we set out, actually while I was in India, you asked, are we doing enough quick enough? I was sitting in India when I got the news that our turnkey agent was not yet appointed. Now, I sent a message to the CFO. I'm not too sure that it was a nice message, but it was a very directional message. I said to them, 1 week, this will be done. I'm proud to say that they did it in a week. They advertised it. They put it out there. There was a massive delay in getting that out to do. CFO that led that team, thank you very much that you pushed that through, advertised it in a week. So it can be done. I can report to council that the municipality did award the housing agent tender in November 25, but there is still legislative requirements that must be completed before before the service provider can commence work. Some of this include the completion of the MFMA Section 33 that requires, amongst others, that the draft contract must be made public for inputs from the local community, National Treasury, Provincial Treasury, and others. We have received a tender appeal in November 2025. One of the bidders and legislative prescripts had to be followed to consider it. Speaker, as this tender is the vehicle to implement the housing projects in our municipal area, it is important to keep council and the public abreast of the progress of it. The administration will submit a report to us once the legislative process have run its course, as council must approve this contract in terms of the Section 33 that we must approve. The next capital project I want to discuss is the various roads projects. There are 104 individual capital roads projects for 25-26 budget. The total budget allocated is 55 million. Was made to refurbish and enhance our road in our municipal area. It is estimated that only 10 million will be spent by June 2026. Currently, there is no tender in place and construction which is stalling in these projects. However, I have been assured by the municipal manager that the new tender will be in place by July 20 of this year, 2026. Speaker, the last capital project I wish to mention is the new municipal office building, of which 48 million was budgeted in the new financial year. This project is not ready to be implemented and never should have been on this budget. It will be rolled over to the 27-28 financial year to allow enough time to complete the various processes. They are only in the planning processes. We had the teams in front of us, and the project leader admitted. He said he made a mistake. He should have put the engineering side first and then the building in the second year. So it was a mere error, and which then skews your figures, of course. Should have been in the second year. Speaker, I spoke previously on a matter of project readiness. Councillor van der Merwe, if capital projects are not ready to be implemented, as soon as the financial year commences, it should not be included in the first 3-year capital budget, period. A project should be on the shelf, complete. When you have the funds, you should take it down and say, put it in. You cannot put things and say to the CFO, I need money, I need 400 million, and then you can't spend it. Must be project ready. It should be included in year 2 or year 3, and departments should then ready in year 1 and complete all the necessary feasibility studies, preparation and work, including awarding the tender. Speaker, in closing, I am pleased to inform Council that the City Cape Town has agreed to, through our intergovernmental processes, to assist Saldanha Bay Municipality to improve our project readiness methodology and planning. Why Cape Town? Cape Town grappled with what we grappled with. When they saw the explosion, they did not know how could they adjust their capital spending accordingly. They introduced this team that came to see us. Madam Speaker and Council, their capital spending has moved from 4 billion to 12 billion. They run 6,000 projects which they monitor daily live. So it can be done. We just need the right systems in place. The municipal manager, the senior management and line management had a full day workshop on the 16th of January. I must add, it was a Friday. And we know everybody has got itchy feet on a Friday. That team sat here the whole day with Senior Director of City Cape Town and his colleague. And they will have a follow-up session planned for April 20. Over and above that, Councillor van der Merwe, we, with the MMCs, called all the project owners and senior managers to a session at Tierkloof, where we asked every single project manager to explain where's his process at, or her process, and what is the way forward and why isn't it where it should be. We must keep that up till April. Let me finish off by saying this. In this municipality, we have a historical way of running our capital budget. We focus it on people. But in fact, we must have a SSP. We must have a strategy and a system and then a person. We've been running on person. We are going to change gears. You know what makes me exceptionally excited is, yes, we face challenges. We identify them, but we concentrate on, Councillor van der Merwe, on a solution. How do we move forward? I'm very excited about this team from Cape Town. I'm excited to see us implement our own system that we can track live, daily, where every single contract is. Not when I receive my report, 31 December, throw my toys out the cot and say, what about this, what about that? But we can identify a problem when it happens, address it. And the day where we can come that every single project that we plan is project ready. It's on the shelf. When we have the funding available, you take it down, add the funding, and you move. You don't start. And this council have been asking for that for 4 years and saying we've got to be ready earlier. I'm pleased to report that we're well on our way to have a SSP and not just a P where we concentrate on people. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. There was a hand on the online system. Councillor Morrison.
Councillor Morrison, you may proceed with your input to the item. Councillor Morrison, are you with us?
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, you may proceed, Councillor.
Good afternoon to the viewers at home, the colleagues around the table. I just also wanted to say something, man. It comes down to accountability. The error in the supply chain system, obviously someone should be held accountable for that. And for an error like that, of that magnitude, where it comes down to service delivery and people that are needing houses and things, it's unacceptable. From the patriotic alliance, we would like the administration to follow through and really focus on accountability. And that people or persons need to be brought to book, because it is unacceptable that our service, our people suffer due to errors that are made. And I mean, it's people that's been in positions for years and years and years, and to make mistakes like that, it's very, very, very unacceptable. And with that, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Morrison. Rest assured, that's why the document has been changed, and you will see that all the contract owners' names are mentioned. That's so that the MM and his directors can action consequent management. If there's no more hands, can our Chief Whip of the MK Party, and then Councillor Williams, and then Chief Whip of the DA. Good afternoon, Councillor Pico.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Good afternoon for everybody. I know now is the election year. I don't know I came back next year. Speaker, I want just to know the clarity of that error. Is it the error will be hold up the tender document until when? Because now, you know, our people really are suffering accordingly, the housing projects. The other question, through to you, Mayor, I hear that your capital budget, where will be spent? Now, there is the project that in the area of Ward 1, Middle Post 4, there's two projects actually, 98 houses and also 800 houses. I did not hear that you mentioned it, because those two projects came very long time, but all the time, even the time I was a councillor, it was on the pipeline. When I came back, it's still sleeping on the pipeline. Until when? We must wait until Jesus come back? Or what? Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Pico. Councillor Williams.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, through you to the Mayor. Although I'm the head coach of Vredenburg, I will not stop fighting for my people of Ward 12, and especially for St. Helena Bay Rugby Club, because I need that field the same as Saldanha, the Saldanha Stadium. So I will fight up until the end for that. The other thing is, Madam Speaker, what worries me is the fact that we are saying that we talk about the additional 13% of the capital budget. In actual fact, we did spend 11%. This 13% has not been implemented as yet. So it's still in the pipeline of being implemented. So we cannot mislead the people outside by saying if this will be added, then it should be 24 or 25%. We must be straightforward, saying that we did spend only 11%. The 13% is still pending, and not if it comes together, then it will be 23%. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Chief Whip of the ANC, Councillor Rousseau.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Through you to the CFO and to the Mayor, I just had these questions earlier, and my item 6 continued. We have a budget of 461 million for 533 projects. We don't find the list of those 533 projects in this report. Is it possible, as the ANC, we request that we can see what are those 533 projects that we are budgeting 461 million rand for? And then we want to know, or we request, that out of the 441 projects that have already been, 112 of them have already got tenders, and of which 43% have already had bids rewarded, we would like to know in what various stages are they in this SEM processes. That is also not listed. Then I had a question for the CFO through you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank them. I see that we have come down with the businesses that owe us money. Government has increased a bit, and I can understand the processes in regards to that, so I'm not concerned about that. We are not concerned. We see that there's an increase in the households that have very high accounts, and that we have put through the legal process as well, and the businesses. I just am concerned, and I know previous years Councillor Kotze was very concerned about this, having to write off all of these monies and all of these things. I'm concerned that we have businesses in this municipality, in the 7 towns, that owe us more than 81 million rand in service fees. That is a scary fact. I'm not talking about the poor that are in arrears. And amongst that households, there are people that owe phenomenal amounts. And that is also worrisome, because how do they accrue this huge amounts of debt without them being addressed in some way? I'm all for writing off indigent arrears, but there is a limit that we should draw somewhere. And then I just have one question. Our MTRF budget, according to this report, is not enough to fund our capital expenditure without external grants and loans. The mayor just now said that we never spend more than something like 200 and something million rand. Could the CFO, because I'm not an economist, I would like the CFO, if possible, to explain to us the last 5 years, every year, the capital expenditure, in writing for us to see that we've never exceeded that 200 and something million, so that we can understand, please. And then I understand the increase in the electricity. We've got a problem with our people's, illegal electricity, the stealing of cables. I really want to thank the electrical department for going above and beyond to repair all of this stuff that happens. I know that it is phenomenal, the stuff that needs to be done. We're very grateful for that. Then I want to get to page 104. And this is the ANC stance on this, that every director and every part of the section, I think it's 57 if I'm not mistaken, employees are supposed to get increased bonuses.
Councillor, that's the second item.
Is that for
that's
for
the next item?
The next item. Okay. Then I'll get to that then. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Councillor. I think I've noticed all the hands. Councillor, maybe for the follow-up. Let me just.
Sorry, Speaker, I read now. I forget to read all. You know, being an old, being an old person is not easy to read all the agenda. Speaker, no, I want just to mention one thing. In the indigenous, people apply for subsidy. Mm-hmm. And then there's the small car of the municipality. They don't come in your house and ask you, are you staying in this house? They go to next door and ask the people that, who's staying in that house. Not all of us know the names of the people because we call mama, papa. Then how now you come with the identity of the person, you ask the name. You will say, no, I don't know that person because you don't know the name of the person. I mean, that system must be, really speaker, just in December in Middle Post area, it's 56 people that they've been cut off the subsidy. They must restate again their subsidy. It's not fair. Thank you very much.
Because I allowed it because it's fine. Well, finance will deal with the matter. CFO, there were some questions added to the previous questions. Councillor Rousseau, the line items of all the projects budgeted for on the capital budget was with the budget item. I will ask the CFO to extract it again and just send it in a separate email to full council. Then you can see all the projects that's on the capital. Similar, so also there is also a document available on the operational budget for each department. It is available because the document is so huge. When we table the budget, we never look in detail on it. So that is available. The CFO will explain with regards to report with the error question that was raised. Emma? Okay, Brad.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you will. Okay.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you for all the good questions and remarks that has been made. Good day to all the councillors. Just to report with regard to the error, the error that we're speaking of, which is actually maybe a bit rash to say it's an error. What we did is we, in terms of the tender, we put out the spec of the tender, which was equal to the previous specs as to how we would love to see the houses look. And what we have found when the tenders came back, we found that the price came in too high. So then it became unaffordable for us to allot the tender. So what we now need to do is we need to bring the spec down. So in other words, we're not making the house smaller. We now gonna have to say, listen here, instead of, just to make an example, instead of a tile roof, we're now going to give you a lower spec, which would be a corrugated roof or and so forth. So we need to look at the specs and bring the specs a little bit down so that it can fall within the affordability or into the subsidy grant. So that's what we have seen. But we've used, why we're saying it's a mistake is because we have used previous specs that has actually worked. Excuse me, Speaker. That has actually worked, and we have recognized that we are unfortunately going to have to bring that spec down.
Thank you, Municipal Manager. I think all the questions has been answered. I had a proposal. We're not going to answer him. Executive Mayor.
Councillor van der Merwe asked about appointment. Nobody answered you. So, as an organisation that have 1,300 workers, it is accepted in the industry that 10% are migrating. So they're either coming in or they're leaving. So every month you'll see resignations and every month you'll see appointments. So one thing I can assure you, the positions that must be filled are rigorously run through the process. There's no delay. But we'll always see a 10% variance in any good municipality. In a bad municipality, it will be much higher. But you'll see that 10% migration in or out, and you'll see it every month when we welcome 40 new people and we're saying goodbye to 15, and then you have to re-advertise, and that goes over 3 months. So that 10% is normal, but it's good that we keep an eye on it. Councillor Kotze spoke about liability of debtors. I think it's a very good point, but that's why we've got multiple legal firms that advise us. Because, yes, I may be a director, my company go under, but I'm bankrupt. So to come after me would be a waste of money. You're going to earn nothing. So that is why we have legal advice. We have our own in-house advocate, and we've got multiple firms that are professionals in this. We can tell you one thing, we will definitely not leave money on the floor. Councillor Rousseau, you spoke about businesses. You know what? for years, businesses have suffered. Businesses create jobs for us. And we must not show the same empathy to some and not to others. We must show the same empathy to everybody. Some people have tried to make a business, tried to create jobs. An economy and a terrible growth of the economy have failed them. They've lost everything that they have. By that, I'm not saying we shouldn't write off. If somebody is capable of paying their debt, they should. But be careful of stepping on somebody's neck that are on the ground, because tomorrow it may be me. There are poor households, but there's businessmen that tried and that didn't make. And sometimes it was through no fault of their own. So I'll stand today in a gap also for the businesses and say thank you. Keep on investing. Keep on creating good jobs. You will be treated fairly if you are indigent or a business or the government. Everybody is on the same credit process. Councillor Tyron, you said mislead. I read against because I don't want to mislead. My verbatim words were, Speaker, in preparation for this, at 31 December 25, the municipality was only able to spend 11% of the capital budget of 461 million. An additional 13% was committed, which means it's through the supply chain problem. No, sorry, I correct that. It's a supply chain process, and if aggregated, it comes to 24% or 113 million. There's no intention to mislead, but it's also an error not to tell people what has been already awarded. That's through the system. It's already been awarded. The projects will start, and I read some of them will be spent by June and July. So there was no intention to mislead, Madam. It is totally transparent and open. Let me just see if there was anything else. You spoke about the budget and overspending or underspending. Council, remember, our budget is rigorously audited, well planned, signed off by provincial treasury, and it's signed off by national treasury. So we cannot get away with underhanded business. And we've got a proud record of 9 consecutive clean audits and 10 altogether, which shows that our CFO and his team and the directors and the MM are doing a fine job with planning and executing our budget. And I'm particularly pleased because they have said the shortcomings, let's find a solution. Stop treating the symptoms, let's start concentrating on the solutions. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Can I go to the next item?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, then the ANC would like to request the following. I agree with the Mayor that we should assist and we should support businesses, but for our sake, for clarity, we would like to ask the following. All government departments are listed owing money, and every year when we do the indigent and we do the residential people that owe us money, their names, their addresses are listed. Can we please, in writing, for the opposition, all the parties, get the list of the businesses that owe us this phenomenal amount so that we can also have, for clarity and transparency, see, please. Thank you.
Councillor Rousseau, Chief Whip of the ANC, thank you for the question. It is against the law, it's not allowed. And you will remember when we get the list of the indigents that we write off, it will be in committee and in the yellow pages, which is not to be shared with anybody because that's the law. And the CFO, can you confirm, or the MM if I am correct?
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, you are correct. Yes, you are correct. So if we do supply you with that list, it will be blacked out. You'll just see numbers like that.
Just the final. If you don't mind, I don't. I'm feeling a bit dizzy. If we do that in the yellow pages for the residential and the government, sorry, Madam Speaker, I just said I'm remaining seated because I'm dizzy. Then can we also in the yellow pages have it listed? Not. Then should we not also say that the people that are in the indigent list are also protected by the POPIA Act and should not be on that list? Because what is good for the resident is...
Councillor, you heard what I said. There's a reason why it's in the yellow pages and the names, because what is our duties as public representative in that item? We don't deal with businesses. So currently in the report, you will see the account number and the same as everybody else. The same as with our councillors when they are in arrears, only the amount and the account numbers are listed. The same with employees. Thank you. I had a proposal and a secondment. Can we now go to item 7?
Madam Speaker?
Chief Whip Fund.
Sorry?
Is it no night for change or for good?
It's for both, Speaker.
Okay.
For both. Speaker, I just want to put it on record that the Good Party will not support this item. Thank you.
It is so noted. The item is actually only for notifications. Council, it must be brought to council attention, the report. So that's why it's allowed to debate the questions and the information in the report, and it highlighted what is concerning. So Chief of Good, I note that Good is in not support by noting the context of the item. Chief of the ANC.
Madam Speaker, because of the conversation that we just had 2 minutes ago, the ANC does not support this either, because if the resident is allowed to be named, then so should the businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Administration, 14-4. The Good Party against is 2 members currently. Sorry, 3 members. Apologies, aye. Ms. Otter. And then the ANC is against, and then NCC also. NCC? Against, okay. MK? Okay. Of course. Thank you. 8 against. Thank you. One 57 employees, 57 and 56 employees. Any questions or comments on the report? Councillor Jackson from the NCC.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge the hard work of our directors. You know, it's no easy task, and that goes without saying. I think within the whole of the municipality, they've got the hardest jobs at hand. At the same time, I'd like to congratulate all of them on their scoring of over 80-something%. But we also cannot ignore the fact that our budget is only spent as far as 11% at this point, and that still remains to be a concern. So now I'm sitting and I'm thinking to myself, and this is with no disrespect, believe me, you.
Apologies, Councillor Jackson, just to remind you that the assessment currently in the report is for the previous financial year.
Previous financial year.
Which is for the full financial year of last year.
Okay, but I still thank you so much for that information, Madam Speaker, but I still don't think that that's going to take away the context of my input. Because at the end of the day, the context of the input is still that we are underspending, regardless of whether it's this financial year or the previous financial year. So yet still that remains a concern for the NCC. However, we would still like to take the opportunity to thank our directors for their hard work, and especially the MM. So thank you guys so much for the work well done. But at the same time, the NCC would like to caution and say, let's try and put better mechanisms in place to ensure that things run smoother than what it is. So thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. The MM says thank you here quietly because you mentioned his name. Any other inputs? Thank you. Can I have a proposal and a second? Chief Whip of the ANC, apologies.
Accepted, Madam Speaker. Sorry? No, I'm not proposing, Madam. No, not on your life. Not today. Maybe another day, but not today. Madam Speaker, the ANC is going to do the following, and we're not following suit with anybody. We have seen the hard work of the directors, especially Director Gerrit, who is not with us anymore. And we actually do miss him. He's done quite a bit, and now I can't email him when I have an issue. I will email Director Pumi then. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for going out of your way to ensure that things happen. But, Madam Speaker, whether it is budget year 2024 or 2025, last year KPIs were not met, and we underspent, and we had too many rollovers, and we had problems and projects that were not completed. And here we are in January of 2026, and we're 6 months into the financial year of 2025 to 2026, and we underspent, we don't have enough, our capital projects are not completing, we've got delays again. So our concern as the ANC is the following. CFO, we believe that you are capable. You have proven that in the last 8 years that I've been a councillor, and my colleagues have joined. And I'm sure that there can be things and ways found to improve. To the directors, I know that it's difficult and that it is very difficult to get everything, all your ducks in a row, but the ANC cannot support the bonuses at this moment. We feel that it should just wait a bit, because if it was me and I was being evaluated, I would feel that on that evaluation, if I did not meet the standard I'm supposed to, then I should have to wait. Thank you. That's fine.
Thank you, Chief Whip of the ANC, Councillor So, for your comments. Executive Mayor, I'm sure you're raising your hand on to rectify the incorrect assumptions that was made. You may continue, sir.
Madam Speaker, I want to say something to the CFO. You're not capable, sir. You're excellent. You're one of the best in the country.
Exactly.
There's only 16% of municipalities, Madam Speaker, that are financially viable. And your team are not perfect. None of us are perfect. We said we'll show each other respect. I'm showing you respect. I want to thank you that we number one of the 16% in this entire country that does it year after year. And forgive me, Madam Speaker, when I'm emotional, because to call you adequate is an insult. Maybe it's just through a lack of words, and I mean no disrespect to Councillor Rousseau, but I do mean to respect you, your team, the MM, because I ask myself, if not you, then who? Who are we going to get that's better than you and your team? So I'm thankful. You're not perfect, but you're happy to admit when there's a problem. You're happy to admit now, right through this that we've gone. He was the first one to say, how do we improve? How do we get help? What do we do? How do we redesign? When I sat in India, he finalized a process that should have taken 2 months in 5 days. So you're not adequate, sir. You're excellent. And your team. MM, you and your directors, it is a pleasure working with you. And I know we all can improve. I know we can. But the fact is, you're happy to embrace that. You're not arrogant. You're humble. Same for the CFO, probably the humblest man in this room, in my opinion. And I often have disagreements with you, but that doesn't mean. So I'll stop there. The last thing I want to say, ma'am, the directors are, I must maybe explain the process, because not all of us have sat in that process. We have a guest MN from another municipality. We have a member of the public. And then we have a subject expert that does all municipalities in the Western Cape. So we cannot just say, hey, ek like jou, gaan jou 90% gee, of dit of dat. Sometimes they tell us, no, drop it. Sometimes they caution us and say, you cannot do this. You have to raise this. So we don't sit there and slap each other on the back. And budget spending, they have their KPIs. And budget spending is one part of it, but it's not everything. There's a whole host of things. You know, and the amazing thing that none of us have noticed, on our budget, and take me up on this, go and read the budget. If we take all the projects in and we don't conclude them this year, it will not affect our service delivery. No. On so many things we are far ahead. You'll still have water, you'll still have sanitation, you'll still have a wastewater treatment at work. The rubbish trucks will collect your rubbish and responsibly dispose of that. Have we ever sat thinking about that and said, thank you, IPS, that on this project you're 30 years ahead. They're investing money to save us money. So yes, we should be hard on them, but we shouldn't be unfair. So, as head of council, I want to say thank you to the directors. In the same breath, I want to say to you, I know we can do better, and our public deserves that. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. So the item is before us. Can I have a proposal? Thank you. Alderman Kuhn proposed and Whip of Council second. Any against vote to approve the item? Nobody's against approval of the item? Everybody in agreement? Thank you. It is then unanimously accepted. Just for clarity, yes, we will now adopt the item. The item, the implementation of whatever should happen after this will only be done after the annual report is finally approved in council in March. So, iemand ja nog lang weg vir jou gehad. Councillors, thank you. Can we then move to the item 8? This is the draft annual report. This will be now adopted in council to go out in public, and then we'll go to the MPAC committee to draft a report to come back to council in March. I hope everybody will take the opportunity to read through it. It will be available in all public places and on our website for the community. The provincial and national governments will also have a chance to comment on it, and then we must respond on it. Can I have a proposal to table the item and then go to public? Councillor Kotze, you propose? Thank you. Councillor Williams, you second? Thank you, Councillor. Unanimously adopted to go out in public. Thank you. Then I'm at item 9/1. The top layer is the BIP section 72, the mid-year report. This goes hand in hand with the first item. Is there any comments or questions? Everything was raised in the previous item. Can I have a proposal and a secondment? Proposed by the whip of the DA and seconded by the whip of council. Thank you. Unanimously adopted. Thank you. Then I'm at item 10. This is an item section 116. This is for the amendment of the contracts of the professional consulting engineering services for the civil engineering service of the 200 urban in Lowville, and this is a compliance process to be completed. Proposal, Councillor Schiffers, whip of council, secondment. Thank you. Whip, Councillor Mamabolo, Alderman Mamabolo. Item unanimously adopted. Then I'm at item 11, section 33, process that must be concluded for the contracts of the housing projects of the Seaview Park Extension 76, Dyersville 120 IRDP, construction of the 196 top structures in Seaview Park, Langebaan, and Dyersville in Saldanha. Proposal? Alderman Kuhn made sure that I noticed him, that he stood up to raise his hand. Thank you, Alderman Kuhn. Proposed secondman is Alderman Mamabolo.
Speaker.
Councillor Williams.
Speaker, hy's 'n pensionaris, so hy kan aansoek doen vir huis.
Thank you, councillors. Item unanimously adopted. Then item 12 is for information, so the council is aware of the delimitation process that was now promulgated in December. It's item 12. Can I just have a proposal and secondment? Thank you, Councillor Williams. Thank you, Councillor Rousseau. Item is duly adopted for notification. Item 13 and 14 we can read together. This is with regards to the tribunal, and this is for properties that is not part of the new legislation that was passed. Is there any questions for clarity before I ask for a proposal and a secondment for the appointments of the members to compile the new tribunal? Okay. Thank you. Can we have a proposal? Thank you, Councillor Rousseau. Secondment by Whip of Council, Councillor Schiffers. Then I'm at item 15, and this is the trunk road from the Roads Authority. Can I have a proposal and a secondment? Thank you, Councillor Mamabolo. Thank you. That's actually the addendum. I have one when it's included in my agenda. That's the addendum. So we have to acquire to ensure that we are adhering to the legislative process. Thank you. Councillors, thank you very much. And audience members, we are done with the white paper. We now go into committee. Yeah. Can you just also cut the live streaming? Thank you.